Do, 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 do. Left of the box. Hello, welcome to. Oh, that was Autism. On Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. This is another segment in my ongoing series about me looking back to my past and realizing different incidences, experiences, conflicts that happened was largely due to me being autistic and not knowing it. Even though I'm pretty sure if I knew I was autistic back then, it probably wouldn't have changed much, but at least then I might have known why I was having so much trouble understanding what was going on around me. I was in grade 7 or 8. I can't remember which one, but I remember the classroom that I was in. And it was the beginning of the year, very first class. And I was usually the first person in a classroom. I like to get there early to kind of, get to know my surroundings, get the feel for the room before it gets crowded with a lot of people. And I also despise being late. So with those two things in play, I was usually the first person in a class. I sat down and quite often people wouldn't sit near me, probably because they didn't really know who I was. I was very quiet and shy. So this time, a group of 2 or 3 girls, they actually sat next to me, and I thought that was very nice to be able to sit next to them. Over the next few weeks, I really got to know them. Like they were nice girls. Nothing, wrong with them or anything. And I really enjoyed spending time with them in the class. Then one time, somebody, I don't remember the words, somebody said something and I responded. And I got that look, the look that a lot of autistic people get when you've said something horribly wrong, but you have no idea what it was. And I kept on thinking, like, what was it? What did I say that's making them give me this look? And then I realized it. That was the first time I said anything to them. All this time, I thought I had been sitting with them, getting to know them, being their friend, but in actuality, I was just some person sitting next to them and they had no clue who I was. So for me to suddenly then say something like I know them was very off-putting to them. Needless to say, they weren't sitting there again come the next class. When I first started hearing about what it was like to be autistic and people explaining that people who are autistic, they have no empathy. When I used to hear things like that it never clued into me that maybe I was autistic, because I am extremely empathetic to the point people think I'm psychic. I can pick up on every single cue a person gives except for the neurotypical social cues that most people use, most likely because those cues are artificial. They're meant to express something that isn't necessarily, who the person is. It's meant to express what they want from somebody, who they want to be to people, things of that sort. But I see past that all the time. So I get to know people really, really fast. And even that alone can cause people to get a little creeped out from me when I start to become very familiar with them, but they still have no clue who I am, because I'm also very notoriously hard to read. Most people, even people who are, have a lot of empathy themselves, have a hard time getting in my head or getting to know what I'm meaning when I'm saying certain things. And a lot of that has to do with how empathetic I am. When I was a kid, I had to put up a lot of walls to kind of block all of this out. Otherwise, I would have been flooded with other people's emotions all the time. And it was hard for me to separate which feelings were mine and which feelings were these other people. So without really even thinking about it, I put up some pretty intense walls. And I still don't think about it, but they're there. And it's hard for other people from the outside to see in, but I'm very capable of still seeing people for who they are. For some reason, I don't know what it is, I can't get a read on how people feel towards me. I can look at people talking and completely understand where they're coming from, maybe some baggage they have, some conflicts they have, how they feel towards each other, get a good read about who they are as a person, and everything like that. But as soon as it's something being directed towards me, it's a complete blank. I get nothing. So I have never felt like I've been loved by a person because I can't get that read. People have to show me how they feel about me through their actions. I found over my life, words have very little meaning. It's the actions that back them up that really indicate to me how somebody feels. And because of all of this, I also have a hard time understanding if I'm friends with somebody, because I might think we're friends, that I've gotten to know them, we're friendly, we can have conversations in groups or whatever social setting we're in. But then I say or do something that I think friends do, just to realize that no, they didn't think of me as a friend. Or I have a friend, and over time, for some reason, they have issues with me. There's something about me that bugs them, but they never actually communicate that to me. I'm supposed to pick up on their social cues about it, which I never do. And I get dumped. And to me, it's out of the blue when my friends just dump me. I have no idea where it's coming from. And that can be hard. And I'm still struggling with it. I'm still trying to understand, especially now that I'm on social media more. And, I have a lot of people that I'm friends with on Twitter, but I don't know if I'm friends with them. Like, if they were to be in town, would we meet up and go out for coffee and be friends outside of these social media platforms? And it's also sometimes frustrating because I can see other people on social media or through their YouTube channels and really like who they are, really want to get to know them. But I'm still a void to most people. They don't know me. They can't get a read on me. So it's hard for them to trust me because a lot of people, are not trustworthy. And they have no idea what my intentions are. So I struggle with that still. I do have some very close friends in my life right now that I know are my friends, because the only reason why they can stay in my life this long is because they love me like a friend would, because I can be a bit challenging at times. This is me sharing my experiences of looking back at my life and realizing that there were certain things that were related to me being autistic that I didn't realize back then, because it was from stories like these I realized I'm autistic. Like, if you can relate to this story, sure, but lots of people can relate to an individual story. But if this really resonates with you, like I said it, like it could have been part of your life, or there's a pattern to the amount of stories that you're hearing that seem to be similar to yours, then it might be worth looking into, doing some research to see if you're autistic. Knowing what I know now about who I am, it makes it easier for me to understand why my communications don't necessarily work with people, and to be more aware of why people aren't understanding it, and try to find workarounds. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble right now, and I wanted to just finish up that story. It's been a rough couple weeks for me. I thought I could have a better handle on talking about this right now. I had to put down my cat, Tulip. It was time. She let me know it was time for her to go. And I knew it was coming. So that's been very hard on me, losing her. Her brother, Frodo, misses her. She never let him near her, but he desperately wanted to be friends with her. I think I can understand that feeling for sure. He tried everything to be friends with her, but she just wasn't having it. And I tried to provide her with the best life I could. I knew she had medical problems. I knew that she was deteriorating and that eventually I would lose her. Then I had to rush Frodo to the vet because of possible eye infection. Then my car broke down. So that's been really rough on me. And I feel a lot of shame for what I'm about to do, because I was really hoping that by this time in my life, these are things that I'd be able to handle. But if anyone can help me out financially with this, I would greatly appreciate it. Between both cats and my car, the total came out to just over $900. So if you can, please help out. If you're Canadian, you can contact me privately on Twitter through a DM, and I can provide you with an email for an e-transfer. I also made a PayPal me link, and I'll have that in the description box below, where you can go if you're American or Canadian and just put in an amount. Every little bit helps. But I do feel bad asking, because I know other people who are struggling way worse than me who probably deserve it more than me. I want to give a big thank you to the person who got me some fidget toys. This thing that is really neat. I really like it. It's space. I really like space. And some slinkies that I had on my wish list, because for those of you who don't know, I'm usually always wearing a slinky on my fingers when I'm doing a video, which means that they get worn out and bent up pretty fast. So thank you so much to the person who got those for me. Please don't forget to hit buttons and leave comments. I'm on Twitter, but I'm also now on Blue Sky. You can find me there under Sandy Lovis at all those other little extra letters they have. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. If you can, please support my content by becoming a Patreon or purchasing something off my wish list. Every little bit helps. A special thanks to those of you who already have. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today.